from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Syrian opposition groups fight back to retake territory, plus to the government forces as UN Security Council meets today in a closed session to discuss the latest developments. And the United States pulls the trigger on an increase in tariffs on Chinese products, and Beijing vows to hit back as trade negotiations continue. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. The UN Security Council meets in an emergency session on Syria with increasing fears of human situation amid escalating air attacks against areas controlled by the opposition. Meanwhile, Syrian opposition groups are fighting back, waging a counter-offensive today to try to retake territory lost to the government forces this week in their stronghold in the country's northwest. Syria State Al-Ikhbariya TV said troops foiled insurgent attacks today on Kafr Naboude village, taking 3 days earlier as government forces pushed into the southern edge of the rebel enclave. The UN Security Council will meet behind closed doors to discuss the humanitarian crisis in Libya as a month-long offensive on the capital grinds on. Diplomats said that the Britain requested today's meeting so a UN aid official could brief representatives on the assault that has displaced 55,000 people and left more than 430 dead. Libyan commander Khalifa Haftar, whose forces hold the east of the country, launched the offensive on April 4th to seize Tripoli, seat of the UN-recognized government. U.S. forces in Africa launched an airstrike against Daesh group in Somalia, killing 13 suspected militants. According to a military statement, the strike was carried out in the Golis Mountains in northern Somalia, where 3 Daesh militants were killed in April. The U.S. military has stepped up its campaign of airstrikes in Somalia since President Donald Trump took office, saying it has killed more than 800 militants in 2 years. The United States pulled the trigger today on a steep increase in tariffs on Chinese products, and Beijing immediately vowed to hit back, turning up the heat before a second day of trade negotiations. President Donald Trump got a briefing from his trade negotiators after the first day of talks with the Chinese side yesterday, but made no move to hold off the tariffs, dashing hopes that there might be a last-minute reprieve as the negotiations continued. Trump began the trade war because of complaints about unfair Chinese trade practices. Still to come on News Bulletin. During the blessed month of Ramadan, markets in North Al Batna Governorate witnessed active purchasing movement. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Oman oil price increased by 92 cents compared to yesterday's price and reached today $70 and 77 cents per barrel. According to Dubai Mercantile Exchange, Oman oil price May delivery amounted to $66.98 for the barrel, increasing by $2.50 compared to the price of April delivery. The main library at Sultan Qaboos University includes thousands of books in various sciences and fields. The main library doesn't serve Sultan Qaboos University students only, but its role extends to provide services to SQU alumni. The library is located at SQU Cultural Central, and it provides a number of services besides books. Such services include offering access for 24 hours to search the library resources. Students and alumni have access to open e-resources and database and find the best search results. Programs and workshops are organized to acquaint the students about the library services, the best research methods, and how to use the resources effectively. Students from various colleges at SQU flock to the main library to read books, which help them to do research and assignments. The library also attracts readers from the community and various educational institutions in the Sultanate. Markets in the Sultanate witnessed active purchasing movement during the holy month of Ramadan. In the Governorate of North Al-Batina, markets are experiencing huge demand from consumers amid intensified monitoring by the teams of the Public Authority for Consumer Protection and North Al-Batina municipality on prices and quality of products in shops and shopping centers. Commodities being bought by citizens are various types of fruits and vegetables, frankincense, perfumes, carpets, gifts, and Omani halwa. Buyers come to these markets from the nearby governorates, and shops remained open until the late hours of the night. Here are the Ramadan times for tomorrow. Fajr prayer is at 4:06 a.m. and Maghrib prayers are at 6:44 p.m. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. Syrian opposition groups fight back to retake territory lost to government forces as UN Security Council meets today in a closed session to discuss latest developments. And the United States pulls the trigger on an increase in tariffs on Chinese products, and Beijing vows to hit back as trade negotiations continue. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, thank you for watching and good night.
إلهي يا إلهي 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 يا إلهي إلهي يا إلهي يا إلهي إلهي يا إلهي على لحن المتاب صدى يرف وفي صدر السماء يطيب عزف على لحن المتاب صدى يرف وفي صدر السماء يطيب عزف هناك الأمنيات تطير شوقا يعانقها من الرحمن لطفه.
على لحن المتاب صدى يرف،
صدى يرف،
وفي صدر السماء يطيب عزفه،
يطيب عزفه.
إلهي يا إلهي، إلهي يا إلهي،
إلهي يا إلهي،
إلهي يا إلهي.
ولي في النجم دمع بات يشكو،
إلهي
لربي مسني ضر وضعف.
إلهي
ولي في النجم دمع بات يشكو،
إلهي
لربي مسني ضر وضعف.
إلهي
إلى غفرانك الآهات تاوي، فعفوك إن تمادى الذنب كهفو.
على لحن المتاب صدى يرف،
صدى يرف،
وفي صدر السماء يطيب عزفه،
يطيب عزفه.
إلهي يا إلهي، إلهي يا إلهي،
إلهي يا إلهي،
إلهي يا إلهي.
إلهي أنت لي الكافي وإني
إلهي
ببابك عن سؤالك لا أكف.
إلهي
إلهي أنت لي الكافي وإني
إلهي
ببابك عن سؤالك لا أكف.
إلهي
أناجي الله في أمل وخوف، فتسكن دمعتي ويقر طرف.
على لحن المتاب صدى يرف،
صدى يرف،
وفي صدر السماء يطيب عزفه،
يطيب عزفه.
إلهي يا إلهي، إلهي يا إلهي، إلهي يا إلهي، إلهي يا إلهي، إلهي
إلهي يا إلهي،
يا إلهي،
إلهي يا
إلهي
يا إلهي،
يا إلهي،
إلهي يا إلهي،
يا
إلهي يا إلهي،
يا إلهي،
إلهي يا إلهي، يا إلهي،
إلهي يا إلهي، إلهي يا إلهي.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: من فطر صائما كان له